And we are live. And as you know, listeners, I have to say we're live because, as true to form, I've been busily chatting to Aleks and we got carried away and we're a little bit late. Sorry about that. But, we were having a little bit of a catch up and what have you. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to this very exciting episode. We've had amazing things going all over the social media about the winter solstice and the great conjuncture and all of this, and there's been photos flying about of planets, and my goodness, I mean, what better way to what better day to bring Aleks in and to have a chat with us. Aleks is somebody that I know very well. She's a wonderful and amazing person, and of course, you know, the theme of these episodes are me interviewing amazing people. So you're in that category, Aleks.
Thank you.
And not just, I mean, Aleks does lots of different things. I know Aleks through the Mystery School. She's a guide. She is also a martial arts instructor, which obviously for those of you who know me, like I wanted to be a ninja when I was younger. So like Aleks is like the real deal. So again, that's amazing. And of course, she is our in-house astrologer. So anything you need to know about stars, planets, retrogrades, all that kind of stuff, here we go. So Aleks, could you do a little bit of an intro of yourself and just explain, say hi to everybody?
Well, first of all, hi, everyone. It's lovely to be able to talk and connect with you, even though I can't see you right now. Oh, gosh. So I actually started studying astrology when I was about 5 or 6. I can't remember exactly what age. But my grandparents, they lived about, so I'm based in Toronto, and my grandparents lived about 2 hours north of Toronto. And they lived in an area that was like kind of swampy, marshy. So there wasn't really much that a 5 or 6-year-old could do up there. But my grandfather had this collection of books, and most of my grandparents' books were these dusty, old, brown encyclopedias, you know. But I remember one day stumbling across a book that was turquoise, and you know, of course, my initial attraction to astrology was very superficial because I liked the colors. So I yanked the book off the shelf. I ran into my bedroom that I had at my grandparents' place, and I started reading in the book because I was a very avid reader. And in this book, it had stories about Hermes, Aries, Aphrodite, all the Greek gods and goddesses. And I fell in love with their stories. And to me, I mean, you know, even to this day, they're still as real as they were to me as a child, actually. And so that was actually how I started my studies in astrology. And I think I kind of taught myself how to be a good reader because I went and was always reading those astrology books.
I love that. I mean, what better pastime than reading about, I mean, I used to watch like Xena, Princess Warrior, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you know, totally, and you know, and Sinbad and, you know, all like about the gods and things. I mean, what a wonderful pastime for a child, and to have those archetypes in their lives right from the word go. I mean, that's just phenomenal. So you had this love, and then how did it develop then, you know, into, you know, kind of tracking stars and planets and understanding how it influences us in our lives?
So you know, I started obviously with reading about the Greek archetypes, and the Greek archetypes are actually connected to astrology. So the stories of the gods and of the heroes, all of them have zodiac or planetary connections. And so it, you know, in that same book, that book was all about teaching you how to cast your own chart. And so in the beginning, it had those archetypal stories, but, you know, in the back, that was where it got technical. And I loved it. I was 10 when I cast my own chart. I was 10.
Oh, amazing. Were all your friends like did you tell your friends? And if so, were they in like the school playground, like, can you do my chart?
No, so here's the thing. I thought that my love for astrology made me weird.
Oh.
And so as a teenager, you know, my friends started to get into it, but not to the degree that I did, right? And so I was kind of like the secret little witch in my friend group.
Well, I bet they all want to know you now. I bet they're all like, you know, what should I do? What should I do around, you know, is this man the right man for me?
Well, they would ask me questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and so I would have to give them very superficial answers because I wasn't willing to just, you know, go and read their chart at, you know, 14, 15, 16. You know, because to me that was something kind of sacred. And I didn't think, at the time, I didn't think dating was sacred enough to to do that kind of work. Not in high school.
But it's very interesting, isn't it? Because some of the you know, some of the cultures around the world and their arranged marriages actually are based on charts.
Absolutely.
Like, so it's taken very, like, I know we're kind of like, you know, having a little like joke, but actually sometimes you know, in some cultures it's taken very seriously, and I mean, it could be the difference of whether you are, you know, going to get married or not going to get married.
Absolutely. You know, there is a lot to be said for compatibility in the astrology chart, right? But the one of the things that because this is a common question that comes to me all the time, you know, like I'm a Gemini and he's a Taurus, and are we going to get along? You know, and there's no, how do I put this? There's no stereotypical answer to that. And one of the things that I tell people is you can't base it solely on your zodiac sign. So when you're looking at astrological compatibility, you actually need to look at the charts themselves because you know, each of the planets has its role. So for example, Venus governs over how we show affection and also how we like to receive it, right? And then Mars governs over passion and sexuality and our drive. And so these two are actually the primary two planets that you would look at whenever you're looking at compatibility in a chart. And you know, and basically when you're looking at these two between you know, between the two partners, what you're doing is you're looking at the interplay of masculine and feminine energy in the chart, right? And that's where the compatibility can really start to show through.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, that, you know, we bring this subject up and people say, and people do say, oh, you know, I can't possibly, you know, be friends with that person because they're a Leo or whatever it is. But I do hear people are often saying that, you know, I'm not going to do anything when there's a retrograde happening. Like literally they stop their lives. So can you give a little bit of just, I know it's a big subject, but I mean, what's your thoughts or views on that?
So, okay, when it comes to retrograde planets, first of all, I consider the planets teachers. So when a planet is not retrograde, that means class is in session. So the teacher is active in teaching and is giving you the lesson plan and is helping you along. When a planet goes retrograde, it's pop quiz time. The teacher steps back and you get to see how you manage that planet's energies on your own and where the mastery comes in, right? And every retrograde is like a slightly different pop quiz, right? Because what you're learning today is different from what you're learning tomorrow versus what you're learning, you know, versus next semester. And so every time we get one of these pop quizzes, it's just a little bit different. And so this, you know, there's what I kind of like to call conspiracy theory astrology. And, you know, and they'll say, don't do anything, you know, go hide in your bomb shelter, right? And I mean, maybe they don't say exactly that, but that's kind of the spirit of it, right? And the thing is that takes away from our mastery as human beings, because we actually have a relationship with these energies, and that relationship is not master and slave, right? So it's not like the planets are the master and we are slave to them, and it, you know, if Mercury's retrograde, we don't do anything. It's not about that at all. It's actually, you know, our relationship with the planets actually grows and evolves as we grow and evolve spiritually. And so as we have more mastery over the gifts, the abilities, the talents that we are innately born with, then you know, the impact of a retrograde changes.
Yeah, you see, I like that. And I've often thought that, you know, we're kind of doing ourselves a disservice if we kind of just like, you know, okay, let's avoid, let's just, you know, hibernate, let's not do anything. And, you know, because I do actually know people that completely, you know, do not do anything or make any major decisions or live their lives in the retrograde. And, you know, and I've often, you know, growing up in the UK, we had these, you know, the astrology charts in the back of the newspaper, and they were very popular, maybe in the 80s and 90s, and everybody would you know, flick back to the back of the you know, the chart, and they would look and see if they were going to have a good day or not based on whether they were a Gemini or Leo. And, you know, I've done it myself. Oh my goodness, okay, we're going to have a good day today. It's okay, you know. But you're right, we're not slaves to it. It's just a guidance and a learning, you know, kind of teacher, like you say, a teacher. So with that in mind, yesterday there was a lot of speculation about what was going to happen and could the world be ending and all these amazing, you know, different things. And I know you wrote this amazing article, so you know, we can point people to that article. But could you just give us a quick overview of what actually happened yesterday?
Absolutely. So, you know, so kind of to your comment about how people were talking about it's going to be the end of the world. You know, this isn't the first time that it's happened with a grand conjunction that you know, people have said it's going to be the end of the world. Thankfully, they were wrong. And you know, and I made a post quite a while ago, you know, where I promised people they were going to wake up December 22nd, and here we are. We woke up, woohoo, right? But you know, in regards to that great conjunction, because one of the troubles with astrology is that there's so much information out there, and sometimes people kind of take advantage of the public's general lack of knowledge in the area of astrology, and so sometimes they will post what I find to be disempowering messages, or messages that propagate fear or panic or that kind of thing. And astrology was never meant to do that. Right? It was always meant to be part of a tool of our mastery, and so perhaps to put a more positive spin on yesterday, because you know, if anybody was tuning into the energy, it was beautiful, it was sacred, right? And so the grand conjunction, for those of you who don't know anything about it, is actually what we call a conjunction, which means a union of Jupiter and Saturn in the skies. And Jupiter and Saturn are actually opposing planets. And if anybody's ever paid attention, this, like, the symbol for Saturn is actually the symbol for Jupiter, just turned upside down. So, you know, they hold a similar energy and yet are on opposite ends of the two poles, right? And so Jupiter is the planet of growth and abundance and opportunities. And then Saturn, you know, is kind of like that boss who holds you accountable to everything. Okay, I have my checklist here. Did you do this? Did you do this? This isn't necessary. Get rid of this, right? And so Saturn is the planet of, they call him limitation or restriction. And yet at the same time, Saturn is this powerful grounding force that is highly focused on bringing things into concrete reality. And so we have these opposing forces of expansion and contraction uniting in the sign Aquarius. And first of all, the grand conjunction happens every 20 years. So I know a lot of people, you know, almost anyone born in 1981 has the grand conjunction to a greater or lesser degree in their natal chart, actually, right? But it happens every 20 years. And so this time around, the Grand Conjunction does something really interesting. It takes 220 years. It goes through this cycle, and every 220 years, it changes elements. And so this was the first Great Conjunction that started in an air sign. So there was a shift, right? And so the energies of this Great Conjunction, first of all, are kind of like an initiation or the start of the human consciousness very much becoming focused again on the humanitarian energies, right? Because air, we all breathe air. Air is what gives us life, right? And so it's a focus on life, sharing life, the sacredness of life. And Aquarius is actually the sign of the water bearer. And in esoteric astrology, the description of Aquarius is that he is the one who pours forth the waters of life for man to drink. And so Aquarius is a life-giving sign, and it is a sign that is about service. And so here we have this energy of stabilization and yet of growth at the same time. And these two planets are actually uniting in Aquarius, which is the sign of the life giver, which is the sign of the world server. That's the technical title that Alice Bailey gave to Aquarius. And so a lot of the human focus over the next 20 years will be about promoting the quality of life and making sure that life, and I hate to say it this way, but making sure that life is accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Because to greater and lesser degrees, there are very large gaps in the quality of life and the ability to live. And when many people talk about that, like we reference Western countries and the gaps of living. And yet, it's not just the Western countries, because there's still people starving every day. Right? There's people living in war. There's people living in abject poverty, right? And so that Great Conjunction yesterday, is bringing in this powerful energy to wake us up, to remind us of the fact that all human life is sacred, and that all human life needs to be honored, and the only way it can be honored is by taking care of each other.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's really something that, over, 2020 has been, a roller coaster ride. Let's just put it, mildly for most people. And it's, what I have noticed in the midst of all of that is the desire for people that have wanted to take care of others. That's what I've seen coming out. And then now this shift into this new energy, it feels, that feels like we have a chance. We really do have a chance of creating something new and special. So 2020. So last year, when you did your forecast and for the year, did it kind of point out to a rocky year or?
Yeah, it did. Last year, when was it? I don't know. I think I think it was about July of 2019. I started to notice the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and it kept popping up, and then I prepared the energy for the year. And I was actually telling somebody, when I first started tuning into the energy of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is the energy of intense restriction, and it can be of difficulty. And historically, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction has brought about the rise and fall of nations. And we didn't see too much rising, this year. And in some ways, we kind of saw a fall, but not in the way that it traditionally has been. I'd say it's rather been the fall of society as we know it, and the rise of something very different. We're only in the infancy of the changes that are being brought about. But the Saturn-Pluto energy conjunction is about death. Really and truly death and rebirth, right? And so when I first saw these energies. I was kind of worried about a Cold War kind of attitude, like the old US Russia Cold War. And don't get me wrong, that's kind of reignited actually.
Yeah.
But and then the day after the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, there were missile strikes that hit a U.S. military base from, I believe it was Iran, and I was like, oh no, I'm really hoping that this isn't war.
Mm.
But towards the end of December, I had started reading about this virus, and it struck a little chord within me, truthfully, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, has been the energy behind 2020. And it's a powerful conjunction. It happens, once approximately every 32 years. And every time it's happened, it has coincided with significant rises and falls. So for example, the previous time that it came around, it was behind the crash of the housing market and the stock market in the 80s. The time before that, it resulted in the creation of Israel, but also of communist China, right? Who's also kind of returned again, in this cycle here.
Yeah.
And has become a prominent name in the news, right? And so I find it interesting that old players from previous Saturn-Pluto conjunctions have come back to the media foreground and come back to the world consciousness, actually, right? And so I knew 2020 was going to be an intense year, and if not because of world events, because of our human relationship with the concept of discipline and restriction. As human beings, we like to grow and progress. That is our nature. And the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Pluto always intensifies the nature of the planet that he unites with. And so when it's the planet of restriction and discipline, the intensification of restriction, the intensification of discipline, that's not something that we generally like as human beings.
Yeah.
And this year has been very revelatory of our ability, both individually and collectively, to be disciplined and to be mindful of our actions. And there are people who have really stepped up to the plate, and then unfortunately there are also people who, like in the face of any restriction, have rebelled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really interesting to watch. And I've noticed that obviously, we know each other through the Modern Mystery School. We're both guides in the Modern Mystery School. What I have noticed that a lot of my clients and also my colleagues and, our community, they've actually made great changes in this time. They've
Yes.
actually really, it's been fascinating to watch because yes, they've still had some hardships and challenges and yes, of course, but what they've done is that they've turned that into something else and I've seen them like just grow and create amazing things in this instance. And so, working with our tools, our rituals, initiation, how does that work in with the planets and what have you? How does that all connect?
Absolutely. One of the things I tell people is that the fundamental power of the human spirit is to be able to take trash and turn it into treasure. So we have magic is what we have. We have magic, right? We're able to take nothing and turn it into something, or take something and turn it into something else.
Absolutely.
Right? And when we work with magic, like especially using the tools of the lineage, we have the ability to harness energies so that they can help us out, right? And the beauty about magic is that maybe something is not available astrologically, right? So let's say, Saturn-Pluto conjunction, energy of restriction, you're feeling it is heavy and there's no joy. Well, this is where magic comes in, right? Because the thing is, energies are never lacking. Qualities are never lacking. There's some way to connect with it. right? And so when we work with magic, what we do is we can actually harness energies that may not be at the forefront, right? And so so for example, 2020 at the forefront, Saturn Pluto conjunction, right? Energy of death, intensity, restriction. Well, none of that screams joy, does it? None of that screams fertility. None of that screams growth, right? And so this is where, using magic, we can connect to other energies that are available, right? Just because the Saturn Pluto conjunction is happening, for example, there are astrological theories of magic, right? So every day of the week is a different planet. The sun travels through different zodiac signs. At different times of the day, we have different rising signs, right? There are what's called planetary hours. And then we have the power of oils and crystals and herbs and candles and then of course of ritual magic as well. And this is where we can grasp onto energies, like I said, that are in the background and help focus them so that we can actually manifest the desire. And that's what a magician does, right? They connect to the appropriate energies and they combine the appropriate energies with an intense desire. And that's how manifestation comes about. And in the space that people have had to get clarity, and in the space people have had to actually perform magic, because I know before people's lives were busy, right? And so they've actually had time to become, more diligent in their craft, so to speak. And so they've had amazing results because of it.
Yeah, I truly agree. And I've said several times, I'm so forever grateful for having these tools, because in the face of the biggest and darkest challenges, there's always a way to shift into something else, into something new, into another, another energy that we can bring in. And I've really noticed that. Especially on lockdown. And here in the UK, we're in, well, the south of the UK, in London, and the south east, we're in lockdown over Christmas. So I shall be using lots of magic over to bring in lots of joy, because we need it. So I'm so glad that we were able to talk about that. We are coming to the end of our time now, but I wonder if we could finish off now. I know you have a forecast, which you do each year, and it's happening on January the 3rd, and you're going to put all your details in there. And obviously, I want people to log in and hear the whole thing. But is there anything, a snippet that you can share with us, something that may, what is 2021? What has it got in store for us, without giving too much away? I know.
Okay, well, let me see here. I wanted to tease you guys. I wanted to tease you. Okay, to be honest with you, 2021, one of the key themes is about healing the rifts in the human consciousness. And we really, really need that. There's been, a lot of very focused separation, a lot of very focused hatred, right? And so 2021 is about starting to heal and heal the gap, heal the chasm, right? Because we can never live healthy lives if there's hatred in existence.
Agree.
And so 2021 is very much about getting over that and figuring out how to get along with people, even if you might hate them.
Yes. Wow.
Or if they hate you.
Yeah. It's true. It's like, I often think about that concept, is like, okay, so if I can't get along with somebody, why should I expect anybody else to get along with somebody that they, they don't like, or they don't have a common ground of, I have to have that within me. That's, I have to be able to overcome that no matter what. And so I'm really glad that that's coming for next year. That's a lot of work for people though, isn't it, Aleks?
Well, it is. It's internal work, but it's also external work. Yeah. And this is the beginning of a process, right? And so, because remember, we also have this Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Oh, sorry, we have the grand conjunction, over the next 20 years, bringing in this theme of recognizing the humanity and restoring that relationship.
So, Aleks, to finish up, what can people expect from your forecast if they've never been to one of your forecasts? How does it work? Do you, talk to them about what, the different months, or what can they expect?
So what I'm going to be talking about are all the major astrological events. So that includes the eclipses, that includes planetary events, right? And then from there, I also give, little highlights and themes, tips on how to work with these energies, what they're going to look like on a personal level, as well as a collective, and, and things that we can expect. And then, hopefully not too many corny jokes, but I am known for that too.
Good. Corny joke.
Well, you know what? We can't take astrology, like super, super seriously all the time. We have to have fun with it. At least I do.
Absolutely agree with you 100%. So, Aleks, would you mind popping your contact details and things into the comment box so that everybody knows how to contact you? And so if they want to come to the forecast on the 3rd, which I'm sure everybody here wants to do that. So it's going to be really cool and really exciting. And also, Aleks, I know it's kind of getting close to Christmas Day, but I know you do these amazing forecasts for people's charts for the year, and for all sorts of amazing things. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift, people, perhaps you could get a voucher off Aleks, and she could actually do a whole chart and an amazing thing for your loved one. So, Aleks, is that something that people can?
Absolutely. So I do create gift certificates, and I do have a Christmas special going on, and so it's $50 off of any reading that you gift to a loved one. And also, if you attend the 2021 astrology forecast, I also have a special offering for a personalized forecast for the year, where we go over your goals and the major energies that are in the coming year for you. And so there's also just a little gift for people who attend the 2021 forecast. They also receive $50 off that personalized forecast.
That is something not to be missed, everyone. We've got some comments. They are amazing, those readings. And somebody said, thank you for the reminder. We have magic. We've got hearts. We've got claps. We've got love you both so much. Yay. We've had loads of comments. So I know it's early and late in some areas of the world. And, so all of our communities are going to be getting up and watching this, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot more feedback and comments. So if you want to have your very own reading with Aleks, please contact her. She gets very busy, so I would say make sure you do that ASAP, and also get booked in for the webinar, the forecast for 2021, because I've got a feeling that we're going to need a little bit of inside information next year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a beautiful energy next year, and I want to help everyone make the best of it.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much for this amazing interview and sharing your expertise. And Aleks has very kindly said that we're going to make this a regular thing. So 2021, you're going to be seeing lots more about it. So we're very excited about that. Thank you so much, and Merry Christmas, and have a wonderful festive season.
Blessed Yule to you, Kate, and to everyone, and Happy New Year. And I am praying for the best year of everyone's lives next year.
Me too. Lots of love, everyone. Bye.